Babaji, would you be able to explain to us about the ego? Is the ego the mind, or is there some subtle difference between the two?
When ego comes only, the mind also crops up. Mean the pure consciousness becomes mind and imagination starts. This normally starts with the misidentification of one's own self, like me and then the mind. That's how the trouble starts. Then that mind becomes stubborn. First, it becomes stubborn that when it has thought that I am this body and I have a name, I have a personality, I have a status, all these things crops up. So thus it becomes stubborn with that idea. That becomes the ego. And then like that it goes on and on and on and on, lose control over itself. Whatever it imagines and resolves firmly, that becomes the ego. Any thought, any imagination that keeps you away from your real self is to be considered as an ego. So ego also constitutes that it stops learning. It doesn't want to know anything because it has already decided, judged, this is it. And it doesn't want to listen to anybody. So that is what the ego is. That's how Swamiji always told that ego is the problem and the ego is the curse. Ignorance is not, he used to say. So that's what happens. That is the ego, some of the basic points.
Pranams, Babaji. The question I have is a follow-up from what Michael just asked and what you explained about the ego. Can you talk about the three gunas and how, if there's any relationship to the mind on this, and how the gunas affect us, you know, the sattvic, rajasic and tamasic?
The three gunas are in three ways: sattvic, rajasic and tamasic. Sattvic is told a quality that exists. As long as it is sattvic, it is under control. But rajasic is stubbornly decides what I have decided, what I have thought, what I have judged is the correct, and I don't have to know anything else. That is rajasic. Like, for example, your mind has the ability to imagine, and that is the sattvic quality of the mind. Mind has an ability. Whatever ability it has, it is the sattvic quality. But when you lose control and stubbornly decide whatever you have judged or thought as the reality, then you get into the rajasic nature of attitude. Tamasic is you totally forget that it is all simply your own imaginations, and thus you forget about your real self also. So you put yourself into somewhat into an ugly situation. So it is like a person is able to go out of the home. That is a sattvic good quality. When he goes out, he doesn't want to come back home. Is the stubborn rajasic swabhava nature. If he totally forgets, he gets so much sucked into the world, forgets to come back to home, he is tamasic, he is a bit ugly situation. So that is how the rajasic, sattvic, rajasic and tamasic qualities have been explained in everything.
Thank you, Babaji.
Pranam, Babaji. My question is about the technique of meditation, because this is very simple, but it's so difficult to adapt in a good way this technique, and so difficult to watch and not to think and imagine. So some advice there.
Be firm and try to understand that you don't have to imagine, you just have to watch. So then you adopt that using your eyeball, just to watch, go on watching. Even if any thought comes, don't bother about that thought. You don't have to do anything else in the world. You just have to watch. When you are watching, Fix the eyeballs steadily, slowly and firmly, politely. Just keep watching. If you understand this technique and properly adopt that, so then slowly you will see that in due course of time, the thinking process all stops. You are just watching there. It must be visible, whichever is the front portion when you close the eyes. Don't imagine any particular object or anchor. Just watch whatever is there without thinking of what it is. Don't think it blank. Don't think any darkness. Don't think what it is, whether anything is there. Don't get involved with the thought. That is the habit. You have become habitual since time immemorial to get involved with thoughts and become a chatterbox. So you rectify your habits and bring it back to just watching, then you will be able to do it. For this, what dedicatedly every day you have to practice. Remember my instructions every time, every day. Keep that app also, Shri Babaji app. So every time in my voice the instructions is given. Just watch means watch. That means you have to surrender to me, means to Baba, thinking that Baba is your commander and you are just a soldier. If I ask you to shoot, you just have to shoot. Don't think why you have to shoot. Like that. If I ask you to just watch, don't think why you have to watch. Just watch. That is taking the command. Then you will be successful.
Thank you.
Pranams, Babaji.
Yeah.
Babaji, the Buddha talked about the importance of a non-violent mind, and Babaji has also talked about this. What does that mean exactly, to have a non-violent mind, or to practice non-violence?
See, in the mind, the thoughts that are arising out of the headings which come under the headings of an extreme anger, any thought that gives you an extreme anger which takes you to a revengeful mood, so that is violence within your mind. So your mind is becoming a casualty. So then extreme greediness, you are unable to control yourself about a particular thought, about wanting to have a particular thing in this world. Then you lose control, that you go into a greed, by hook or crook you want to have it. So thus your mind is becoming violent there again, and extreme attachment to this materialistic world. You cannot give up even for a moment from this world. You cannot sit inside a room also. You just want to get out and run out and entertain yourself in malls and cinemas and discos and all such things. So many things, 100,000s are there. So that also, and extreme stinginess. So you don't want to distribute even one banana of the 12 bananas that you have, that type of thought. All these constitute into violence of the mind. And when you feel jealous of others, a false pride, all the time you will be simply boasting of yourself or one or two people belonging to your family or children. More than that, you are unable to appreciate anybody else. You can see some people, well, I have seen such people around us. Whenever we sit there, they don't have anything else to appreciate. They don't appreciate anybody else. Even if somebody is doing very good, so comparing that, they start taking up their own children or their own family people, and they start boasting about such things, but they fail to appreciate the other. And jealousy, finally. If somebody is doing good, you need to appreciate them. You must feel happy. So that is important. Somebody is achieving something good, so you don't have to feel jealousy. Feeling jealousy. So any thoughts coming under these 6 headings is violent. When it is violent, your mind expands and spins more and giving you more stress and headaches sometimes. So if it is non-violent, it cools down. It becomes composed. It is at peace because it doesn't get annoyed with anybody, and it doesn't get into any greed. It is not attached to the materialistic world. It is there, it is not there. and it has no stinginess. Anybody comes, it can give some, you can give something to somebody like that. And also no false pride. You won't be unnecessarily boasting about yourself. I don't have to boast that, oh, I am a self-realized person, I am a self-realized person. No need. If anybody wants to learn, we just give it. Other than that, I don't have to boast, because whatever I have, it's for me. We don't need certificates for these things. And don't feel jealousy at all. If anybody is doing good, achieving good, it's wonderful. If anybody else also becomes a yogi, we are happy and we appreciate, because this world needs as many yogis as they can be. So you will see that one. So then you don't feel jealous. So these are the violent and non-violent thoughts.
Thank you, Babaji. That's
Babaji, Babaji, I have a question. One of your instructions during meditation is to watch. In my personal experience, sometimes the image that I get is something I've never seen before, never imagined. So where did this come from?
You see, when you talk that I never imagined or I never thought about it, any such thing, so that time is limited. At the most, you might remember since childhood of this physical body that you have now, this life. Before that, you don't remember anything, whether there was anything else and all such things. It might be coming from time immemorial, but it might be sitting as a habit in the mind, and that is getting purified. When it is getting purified, it comes up, it crops up. That's how that image or the thought comes always. So whatever it is, important to note and understand whether it is good or whether it is any bad. Either of the two, you just watch without getting involving into that thought. Don't bother from where it is coming, when it started. Don't bother. Let it go simply. Let the garbage get out of the mind. That is important.
Thank you, Babaji.
Namaste, Babaji. Babaji, I just started meditation 2 weeks ago. So like everybody here sits for 1 hour, I can barely do it for 20 minutes. And whenever I try to sit and concentrate after like 10 or 15, after 20 minutes, I just start, I just think about other things and I just lose my focus. So how to maintain the focus for like 1 hour and how to do a good meditation? That's basically my question.
It happens because since time immemorial, the mind has gone out of control, acquiring all habits to think in a particular way, visualize things. These two things are the habits of the mind, and that's why you find it difficult. So what we teach is 3 important mantras: dedication, discipline, patience. Dedication means you set a priority. I must sit every day. I need this. I need the peace. I want to achieve self-realization, whatever is your goal. So that you set a dedicate. So you take out time. You don't give any excuse. Time is available. 24 hours is available. You have to take. That is dedication. Then discipline. Every day without fail, you sit down and practice the way that we are teaching. The master instructs every day. So that is discipline. You become restless if you don't sit for meditation. If you are disciplined, your mind will be drawn to that point. And patience. Overnight, it's not going to change. As I told, your mind has gone out of control since time immemorial. So need to have some patience. If not today, it will come under control tomorrow. If not 6 months, it will come. Never give up. Have an attitude, never give up. One day I am going to achieve. Today you might be the underdog. Your mind has an upper hand because you had lost control. It will come one day. So don't worry. So you can always download the app Shri Babaji that we have produced. It is free to download both on Android and App Store also. In that I have given instruction. You can keep a time capsule is there. You can set for 10 minutes, 20 minutes, half an hour, 1 hour, several hours. So that is coming on the chat. You see, you can see Shri Babaji is the name, and you can download to your phone. Every day you adopt. I have given some more tips also. You will feel inspired, and with my voice I have instructed. Practice like that. Like now, for every Saturday we are doing these Zoom sessions also. Without fail, without giving excuse, you sit down and you will learn. We will pray and bless you.
Nice to see you, Baba. The question is a follow-up to what you just said about the violent mind. Does it mean where does this violent mind originate? What is causing this violent mind to take control of the mind?
As you know, as I have explained earlier, mind is made up of both consciousness and energy. The presence of energy gives rise to this. When there is an ability, it can, when it gets involved, that ability into this world, it can go either way, either as a good or a bad, either as a violent, or if it is under control, it can be non-violent. So somewhere unknown to humans, they pick up habits, and on seeing they get attracted quickly, they lose control. That is why we always tell, as we have tremendously advanced through science, technology, and so many fields, but we have forgotten spirituality is equally a great science which helps to contain, to restrain, to control our minds. So if only we can have our consciousness and energy under our control, again it is the same mind has to have the control, then we won't allow these things to happen. Long time practice is necessary. Long time, like since childhood, we learned chanting of divine praise, stotram. And even today we enjoy chanting even after self-realization. I don't keep quiet. Every day I chant to inspire other people who are around me. They all come and sit with me in the morning. I tell them. So like this, music can be a very good therapy. Listening to devotional songs and all such things can make a mind non-violent. So these exercises are very important, like the pranayama, breathing exercises, and being in the company of good and noble who are more contented, who are not greedy. So they will always be non-violent in nature.
So from what I understand, Babaji, if I may, you are suggesting that people are not inherently bad, or these are habits they may pick up through
By
their
nature,
life.
nobody is either good or bad. They simply exist. The mind simply exists. If it picks up any one of them, then it becomes habitual, gradually lose control over that. You become addicted and then lose control. So to control it only, you need spiritual exercises. Meditation is the highest thing which can keep you restrained and keep your mind non-violent. Like for a next birth also, or getting totally liberated also, a non-violent mind is very important. That if one has a violent mind, their next birth, they can be belittling themselves, can become a violent animal, a carnivorous animal, anything it can be. Or it gets elevated into a better animal, better human being, and better circumstances, better parents. What you call samskara means better acquired habits of the mind.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Hello, Babaji, nice to see you. When we silence our mind in daytime with open eyes, is the observation of object, books, vegetables, keys, and whatever we see, is the observation itself a thought? Have you got, Can you explain this to me? You have to get rid of it with this observation as well, or is that allowed to do when we
Simply observing itself doesn't give rise to a thought. When you are just watching, that's what we try to mean it. Means suppose you watch a vegetable, you just watch it. That means you just observe, but you won't give rise to any further thought. You are not bothered from where did that vegetable came from, why is that vegetable in that color or in there. All these things you don't bother. A while ago, answering another question, when an image has appeared, person doubts, when did this image came into existence? I never imagined anything. I don't remember. I told you, what you remember is only a small in this life. Few years, 10 years, 50 years, 60 years from your childhood. But you won't remember your previous lives. It might be coming since time immemorial. Mind is carrying on. Like that, when you get involved, you will carry it. But you just watch it. Even if it is good or bad, you just observe. Then your mind will become quiet.
Thank you, I understand. And I have now another question, please.
Yeah.
When I threw this in other culture, in Africa, they're using dancing music for spiritual practice. Then looking towards the Amazons, they're using as well certain drugs and mushrooms. What has this for values to be to be spiritual, or yeah? Can you talk about using other?
Yeah, in my opinion, like a dancing, a laughter, they are good for a while, definitely. They can be very helpful. Like laughter is the best medicine type, and dancing also. But slowly, you must take care that you don't become addicted to that. Why? Because you may not be able to dance all times, at all times. If you are unable to dance for some reason, if you are aging or any other reason, then you will feel bad. You acquire the unhappiness or any violence, frustration, any such things can happen. So gradually you can use it like a preliminary round exercise that gives a blissfulness. Like people dance and laugh and dance and do this. That gives a blissfulness. I have always warned that blissfulness can make you to jump back to the world, get addicted to a particular anchor, an outside thing on your own physical body, because your own physical body is not permanent. So thus you are depending on something that must be avoided. Use it for a while. For a while you dance, no problem. But slowly you try to become independent. This dependency and becoming independent is more very, very important. Like in meditation, slowly you become independent. Like now my mind is quiet. It doesn't need any anchor to remain quiet, because on its own it practices to remain quiet on its own without any external anchor. So this is what we would recommend eventually and finally. Though for a while you can adopt any such methods appeals to you to enjoy, to laugh and to have some happiness temporarily, but permanently practice meditation means practice remaining quiet on your own.
Good, thank you, I understand, and thank you for clarifying.
Hi, Babaji. With the dedication, determination, and patience, the dedication and determination come more easily for me. The patience is harder and seems more subtle. I don't know how to be more patient.
Yeah, patience is a bit harder if you are not practiced to. Like practice patience in the midst of society, when there are people around you ready to irritate you. At that time, if you can practice, that is like a commando training for you. You must practice. That's what we all did, a service to the master in a monastery. remaining at the lotus feet of a master, and the master trains you for this purposely. Purposely, he puts you into all such circumstances and duties which can be constantly irritating and troubling you and annoying you. And then he teaches you to practice patience. Keep on doing, concentrate on the job that you have been assigned to. So like this, your day-to-day life itself can be a master's place. Remember that your master is with you always, and your master has assigned you to do the things, whatever you are supposed to do in your life. Go on doing, concentrate on just doing that. Then you will practice more patience. Don't react to things that are happening surroundingly. It keeps happening, hundreds, thousands, people, because everybody in this world operate depending on their own temperament. They cannot understand the other and behave accordingly easily. Like we tell, a mother tries to behave according to the temperament of the child so that she can look after the child better. The child could be irritating often, it could be crying, it could be shouting, it may not coming under control, it may be demanding, but mother has all the patience. It is said, the old saying, that she tries to see herself in the child and then practices that. So in the same way, you try to see yourself, try to understand others who are around you. Though they might be irritating, try to think this way. Most probably, if I were to be in their place, I would have been behaving like this only. So let me forgive them, let go. Like this you practice. That's how patience comes. That's how we all practiced.
Thank you, Babaji.
Pranamas, Babaji. My question is a follow-up to Simon's question about the gunas. I wonder if you could explain what determines in a person's life what guna predominates.
Generally, mind picks up all such habits unless you are practicing spirituality very seriously. So then you rise above all the three levels when you totally become silent. That's why, like one example I have told, if you call this world as very good, then also your mind gets involved. You call this world as very bad, then also your mind gets involved. So the master teaches, don't get involved either way. Rise above that duality. That is the safest place. There is no risk of anything. If you are going to have the sattvic, means the imagination capability, there is always a risk of that sattvic dropping into the rajasic. Any moment it can become stubborn, it can be egoistic, whatever it thinks. This is it, this is the right thing. What I am thinking is, then you might start even arguing with others. So this happens and then it jumps into tamasic. So that's what spiritually try to practice so that you are above all the three. Otherwise, if you leave the mind, so it sometimes picks up sattvic, sometimes it picks up rajasic, sometimes it gets into the attitude of tamasic. When it becomes too greedy about this world, it forgets about itself. Oh, I have to be careful. Also, it forgets. It totally puts oneself into an ugly situation. So this is what happens. If you are going to have even one of them, sattvic, you cannot avoid the other two. You have to rise above all the three. Like in the shloka about the Guru, I chant to wake you all up from the meditation, Brahmanandam Parama Sukhadam. So in that, Bhavatitam Triguna Rahitam, Bhavatitam, a self-realized yogi Sadguru would have transcended all emotions, all feelings of the mind. No feelings in any way, good or bad, nothing. So then he would have transcended the trigunas, these sattvic, rajasic and tamasic. This is the highest spiritual teaching.
Thank you, Baba.
Pranams, Babaji. Babaji, you have said the mind itself has no desire, but desires come with thoughts. Can you please explain that a little more?
When the mind is quiet, we call it as the pure consciousness. It is no more mind if it is quiet. If thoughts arise, if starts imagining, then it becomes mind. When it starts imagining, it doesn't keep quiet into one type of thought. It gets involved into dualities. I have also explained, like if you have had a sound sleep in the night, when you get up in the morning, you might be feeling very refreshing. Refreshing for a while, mind could be quiet. Suddenly unknown to you, because of the habit, mind starts imagining. In the beginning, it tries to imagine all the pleasant things. Oh, if at all I have to imagine, let me be the Queen of England. What is the problem there? But then slowly, as the day passes by, it starts imagining good, bad, happiness, unhappiness, everything, and gets involved. So that's why the master teaches the highest way. Don't get involved into either of the thoughts, neither happiness nor unhappiness. If there is no problem with the happiness, you don't have a problem with the unhappiness at all.
Thank you, Babaji.
Namaskar, Babaji.
Yeah, I can hear you.
Babaji, I'm just taking up a question which Ken asked about, and you replied in terms of feelings, to say that you have to rise above and have no feelings, either good or bad. Perhaps I misunderstood. I thought that we need to feel and empathize with our fellow human beings, and empathy is a good quality.
You see, it's really no problem as long as you can hold on to the good quality. But you must not get into the bad also eventually. That's why we alerted in spirituality, you try to rise above that. Now, next important point, just by having a feeling, you may not be able to help anybody. You just see, you practice this in another way. You don't have to have any feeling, but you see somebody is suffering, somebody needs our help. So just understand and get into helping the other, simply without having the feeling or empathy like that one. So you just get into that habit. You practically go and try to help it, and you are also not getting involved mentally. Thus you are keeping your mind purified and not becoming a casualty. Then you try to help the other also, whatever is possible. This is not as easy as I am talking, but if you regularly practice meditation like we do, like that one, I don't keep worrying in my mind about empathy, about anybody suffering. If I can help, I will try to help. I will console them. I will give them courage. So that's what is important.
Thank you for clarifying. Thank you.
Pranams, Babaji. Sometimes I wonder how is that so many of us, we have come in touch with you. So could it be perhaps somewhere unknown to us, we would have resolved or thought that we should have a guru like you and Sri Swamiji, that we came in contact with you and receive your blessings?
Yeah, definitely in my opinion. So either you would have had been doing some sadhana, keeping your mind non-violent, and also praying to God, to know about God, or to have a guru who can guide you in the best possible way. All these things, visualizing in previous births would have brought in touch with a guru like Swamiji, and eventually with us, and you wanted that type of truth. So that's how things have come to this stage now.
I'm sorry. Continue to guide and help us to follow the path in your teachings, Babaji.
Babaji, somebody has sent in a question.
Yeah, can read.
When somebody's beloved partner or loved one has died, what advice would you give to the surviving partner? What could they do for the one who has passed on?
Pray for the departed soul. Pray to divine, because every soul belongs to the divine. It's only the divine's grace can give peace, like we pray sincerely, may the soul in rest in peace, may the divine guide the soul's onward journey towards the divinity, towards total supreme peace achievement, and may our wisdom be inspired by the divine's grace, not to brood or not to fall into any sadness unnecessarily. We have to know that only the body has disappeared from our eyes, but the soul is always there. So now the reality is that that body cannot come back. So grieving itself will not be helpful either to us or to the departed soul. The best way is to pray to the divine so that we also get peace, and to the departed soul also we pray for peace.
Thank you, Babaji.
Thank you, Babaji, for all the blessings and the privilege of being under your guidance. I'm referring to the previous brother devotee who asked what led us to be in touch with you and be inspired. And you said it could be in a previous lifetime. So I just want to know, out of curiosity, how many lifetimes before may I have known you? And ask this very humbly. Is this like the first time, or we have met, but my memory has forgotten in this body?
In the immediate back future only, not very long ago, in the previous lives, 1 or 2 previous lives that you would have been remembering to have a yogi as a master, wanting to know the spiritual truths, or at least wanting to have peace. You would have valued the peace much, non-violence much, helping others. So like that, you would have been brought in touch with a yogi to get proper guidance and further inspiration to go ahead with your spiritual sadhana.
So this is in a way the first time in this life, only in this lifetime am I meeting you for the first time out of my entire existence of my soul?
Not necessarily be. In previous lives also you were in touch with us. So that's how
That's
you
what I'm
have come
asking.
back. For some reason you would have got attracted to some other places. So that's why, but you had some touch. That's how at least in this age you have been brought again to our touch and to achieve peace for yourself. Blessings.
I think that is enormous peace. I mean, it's boundless. Thank you.
Baba Pranam. Gurudev.
Yeah.
Yeah, I wanted to ask, I have read recently in the Gospel of Shri Ramakrishna that it is a stick in the sea which is separating us, like ego, that stick is separating us from the ocean of the consciousness which is God. And also you have mentioned that in the space we belong, but still we are the individual bubble. So how can we erase this barrier and just forget this egoistic personality at all and merge into the same?
By regularly practicing meditation, so you as a droplet is brought to become one with the ocean. That's when your ego will disappear. So you, whatever happens in your life, you try to visualize the master, the ocean only, always. It is the grace of the master. It is the blessings of the master. Every day, try to see the master in everything, as everything. Then your ego will disappear and you will merge with the ocean again.
Gurudev, one question also. I have also read in the Gospel, as I am reading currently, that Shri Ramakrishna tells us that there is in our scriptures, ancient scriptures, there is a story called of some Homa bird which produces an egg in high above the mountains, and the egg falls and falls, and the chick is produced in between in the this thing in the gravitational when it is falling. Just before it touches the ground, it cries and sees the death. It is the death here. I want to go back to my mother, and it flies back to the mother. what does it spiritually mean?
You see, because of your ego and imaginations about the world, you have been dropped out of the ocean, come out as a droplet. Then before you burst open means, so you suffer in this world, lot of pain, lot of sadness. Then you start remembering the master, somebody who can give you that peace. So that is what the mother concept. Mother means the master is like a mother. The Guru Dev is like a mother for you. When you remember that, so then you are able to fly back. You are able to come back to the ocean. You does start remembering master always in your everyday life. As I told, remember that the master is with you everywhere, has everything, in everything. Then you will come back to the ocean flying back. That is the meaning. So beautifully Ramakrishna has said this. He was very witty and wonderful person. He used to give wonderful examples.
Gurudev, one last follow-up thing. If we are in the space and also in the ocean, how this barrier is forming, how this bubble is forming, why it is not bursting?
It is simply an illusion. As long as you hold on to that illusion, the mind doesn't want to die. It holds on to its imagination. That's why we teach, just watch in between eyebrows. If you just watch and don't imagine anything, then the bubble will burst and becomes one with the ocean. Where some very beautiful questions have come, and I appreciate all your participation and other people who are listening to the answers also, giving me an opportunity to share my experiences, my opinion, and whatever my Gurudev Shiva Balayogi taught me.